The spaceport was always full of noise, ships coming and going, traders shouting, guards checking papers, children running between metal crates. But that day, something strange happened. Among the crowd, one figure moved slowly, her steps uneven, her body weak, her face hidden under a torn gray cloak. She was an alien girl, different from the others. Her skin was pale blue with marks that looked like scars. One arm was thinner than the other, and her left leg dragged behind as if it was broken long ago. People stared, some laughed, others turned their faces away. No one wanted to be near her. The colony had strict rules. Every alien needed to bond with a human partner to live here. Bonding was a mix of trust, loyalty, and mental link. Without it, aliens were treated as outcasts. But no one wanted to bond with her. She was poor, disabled, and weak. Children pointed and whispered, "Look at her. She can't even walk straight." Merchants pulled their goods away as she passed. "Don't let her touch. She brings bad luck." The guards just shook their heads. She kept walking slowly, her eyes down. But inside those eyes burned something sharp, a quiet strength, a secret no one could see. In the corner of the port stood a human soldier, young but tired. His uniform was simple, his face serious. His name was Elias. He noticed how everyone avoided the alien girl. For some reason he could not look away. He watched her stumble as a group of boys threw stones at her. She did not fight back, she just kept moving, her cloak covering her face. Elias felt something stir inside, anger, pity, curiosity. He could not explain it, but his heart told him she was not just a weak alien girl, there was more. The girl reached the edge of the market where the lights were dim. She sat down near a broken machine, her shoulders shaking slightly, but she made no sound, no tears, only silence. The people walked past without care. No one asked her name. No one offered help. In this colony, weakness was death. Elias walked closer, against his own training, against the whispers in his mind telling him to stay away. He bent down and placed a small food ration in front of her. The girl raised her head slowly. Her eyes were bright silver, glowing softly like stars. She looked at him with suspicion. "Why?" she asked in a weak but steady voice. Elias did not know what to say. "Because you are hungry," he answered simply. She looked at the food, then back at him. Her thin fingers shook as she touched it, but she pulled her hand back. "If I take it, they will laugh at you. They will call you weak," she whispered. Elias gave a small smile. "Let them laugh." Around them, a few merchants sneered. One guard muttered, "Foolish human, wasting rations on trash." But Elias ignored them. The girl finally took the food, ate slowly, carefully, as if each bite was precious. When she finished, she leaned closer, her voice low. "They will come for me." Elias frowned. "Who will come?" She shook her head, her silver eyes shining with fear and something else, knowledge. "The ones who cast me out. The ones who fear what I carry." Her words made no sense to him, but his instincts told him she was speaking the truth. Something about her felt dangerous, not because she was a threat, but because others wanted her gone. Elias straightened, scanning the port, and for the first time he noticed two shadowy figures watching from the upper level. Their eyes locked on the alien girl, their faces hidden. He looked back at her. She was already pulling her cloak tighter, hiding her marks, trying to disappear into the darkness. But Elias knew one thing. The colony was not safe for her, and yet she had come here. Why, he wondered. What secret did she hold? The girl whispered again, almost too soft to hear. "They will not let me live, but maybe you will." Her words stayed in his mind, heavy and strange. The spaceport lights flickered as a warning alarm rang in the distance. A ship was approaching, unknown, not registered. The crowd moved in panic, guards shouting, merchants closing stalls, children running to shelters. Elias looked at the girl one last time. She was not running, she just sat there, calm, as if she already knew what was coming. In that moment, he felt a choice forming in his heart. A dangerous choice. He could walk away like everyone else, or he could step closer and discover the truth about this outcast alien girl. He did not yet know that his choice would change the fate of the colony, the fate of the girl, and maybe the fate of the galaxy. The girl lifted her silver eyes and whispered a final word, "Stay." And for reasons he could not explain, Elias stayed. The alarm stopped after a while. The unknown ship left orbit. But fear stayed in the colony. People whispered about danger, about spies, about traitors. And in the middle of that fear sat the alien girl, alone. Elias could not forget her silver eyes. They stayed in his mind even when he returned to the barracks. His friends laughed at him. "You gave food to a crippled alien," one said. "Next you will marry a lizard," another joked, their voices full of mockery. But Elias did not laugh. He stayed silent, staring at the ceiling at night, hearing her whisper, "They will come for me," again and again. The next day he saw her again, sitting in the shadows of the port, her cloak torn, her face hidden. No one dared to sit near her. He carried a small packet of bread. He walked past her once, twice, his heart beating fast. Finally, he stopped and placed it beside her. This time she did not refuse. She took it quickly and ate, her hands shaking, but her eyes looked at him, searching, testing. "Why do you help me?" she asked, her voice flat but heavy. Elias shrugged. "Because no one else will." She stared at him for a long time, then whispered, "That is dangerous." He almost laughed. "Dangerous to give bread?" Her silver eyes grew colder. "Dangerous to stand with me." Elias felt a strange shiver, not of fear, but of warning. Something inside told him she was right, but he could not walk away. That night he found her again, sitting near the broken machine, the same place as yesterday. He sat down across from her, ignoring the stares of people walking by. "What is your name?" he asked. For a moment she did not answer. Then softly she said, "Lyra." "Lyra," he repeated, the name smooth on his tongue. "I am Elias." She nodded once, then pulled her cloak tighter. "You should not say my name in public." "Why not?" he asked. Her silver eyes met his. "Because my name is cursed among my people, because they hunt me, because they want silence." Elias leaned closer, his curiosity stronger than his fear. "Why do they hunt you?" Lyra looked down at her thin, damaged hands, her voice low. "Because I carry something they fear, knowledge, memory, a secret not meant for me." Elias frowned, trying to understand. But before he could ask more, a group of humans passed by. One of them sneered, "Look at the soldier sitting with the cripple. Maybe he wants to bond with her." The others laughed, the sound sharp. Elias felt his face burn, but he did not move. Lyra lowered her head, whispering, "You see, they already hate you for standing near me." But Elias stayed. He did not leave. He looked at the men and said firmly, "Go laugh somewhere else." The group cursed but walked away, muttering about wasted time. Lyra lifted her eyes again, something soft flickering in them. "You are foolish," she said, "but you are not cruel." Elias smiled faintly. "That is enough for me." The days passed, and Elias visited her again and again. Each time he brought food. Each time he asked questions. Each time he learned a little more. He learned she once belonged to a noble alien family, but when her body grew weak, when her leg broke and never healed, they threw her away, calling her useless, cursed. He learned that inside her mind she carried codes and visions, flashes of ancient machines, maps of forgotten places, knowledge she herself did not understand. He learned that the shadows watching her were real, agents of her people, waiting for the chance to end her life. Elias listened, his heart heavy, his mind racing. He knew she was more than a crippled girl. She was a storm waiting to break. One evening, as the twin suns set behind the towers of the colony, Elias found Lyra trembling, her silver eyes glowing brighter than before. "They are here," she whispered, her voice urgent. "The hunters, they have found me." Elias looked around. The market seemed normal, merchants shouting, children laughing, but in the corner he saw them, two tall figures with dark cloaks, faces hidden, moving closer. "Run," Lyra told him. "Save yourself." But Elias shook his head. "No, if they want you, they will have to pass me." Lyra's eyes widened. She looked at him with disbelief. "Why? Why risk your life for me?" Elias felt his chest tighten. He did not know how to explain. Maybe it was her loneliness. Maybe it was the cruelty of others. Maybe it was the fire he saw inside her. But he said simply, "Because no one should stand alone." The hunters stepped closer, the air thick with tension. Lyra grabbed Elias's sleeve with her weak hand, whispering, "If you stay, your life will never be the same." Elias tightened his jaw, his soldier's heart steady. Then let it change. The shadows loomed larger. The market fell silent, the crowd stepping back, watching, waiting. Lyra closed her eyes, her lips trembling. "So it begins," she whispered. And for the first time in years, she was not alone. Elias stood beside. Her, ready to face whatever came. The hunters did not strike that night. They only watched from the shadows, their cloaks blending into the dark corners of the port, their eyes fixed on Lyra. Elias stood in front of her, his hand close to his weapon, his breath steady. But the hunters slowly stepped back, disappearing into the crowd, as if to remind them both, "We are always here." Lyra sank against the broken machine, her body trembling, her silver eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. Elias knelt beside her. "Why do they follow you? What are they waiting for?" For a long moment she said nothing, only the sound of ships leaving and arriving filled the air. Then finally she whispered, "Because of what is inside my mind." Elias frowned. "Inside your mind?" Lyra nodded, her voice low and heavy. "When I was a child they tested me. Every young one is tested. They search for the memory of the ancestors, for fragments of the old empire. In me they found something they feared." Her thin fingers clutched her cloak tightly, as if afraid to speak. "I saw things I was not supposed to see. Machines buried under the sands of dead worlds, codes that could open ancient gates, voices that are not voices, calling through time." Elias stared, unsure if he believed, but her silver eyes shone with a truth too sharp to deny. "They said I was cursed," Lyra continued. "My broken body was shame. My mind was danger. They feared what I carried, so they cast me out, and now they hunt me, not to take the knowledge, but to silence it forever." Elias felt a chill crawl through him. This was not just about pity. This girl was more important than anyone realized. Lyra lowered her head, her voice breaking. "I do not understand the visions. I only feel them. They come like fire in my skull. Sometimes they hurt me. Sometimes they show me paths that do not exist yet." Elias too chet her shoulder gently. "You are not cursed, Lyra. You are more than they can see." For the first time, she looked at him not with suspicion, but with fragile hope, a small spark in her silver eyes. That night, Elias smuggled her into the old storage hangar, away from the eyes of the colony. He brought blankets and water, a small lamp to chase away the shadows. "Why are you doing this?" she asked as she watched him set the lamp. "Why risk your place, your honor, for me?" Elias paused, then said quietly, "Because every voice in this colony says you are nothing. But my heart tells me you are something, and I trust my heart more than their rules." Lyra looked away quickly, as if afraid he would see her tears. In the nights that followed, Elias spent hours listening to her. She spoke of strange maps burned into her memory, of stars that no longer existed, of machines that could shape reality. Her words were broken, scattered, like puzzle pieces. But Elias listened carefully. One night, her voice dropped to a whisper. "I dream of a key, small, simple, glowing with white light. It can awaken what sleeps, but it can also destroy, and I fear it is inside me." Elias clenched his fists. He did not know if she spoke in riddles or truth, but he felt the weight of her words pressing on him. Outside the hangar, whispers spread. People began to notice the young soldier's absence. Rumors grew. He is protecting the cripple. He is bonding with her. He is throwing his honor away. Elias ignored the gossip, but he knew time was running short. The colony would not stay silent forever, and the hunters were still near, always watching, always waiting. One evening, as he returned with supplies, Lyra grabbed his arm, her silver eyes wide with fear. "They are closer. I feel them, like fire in my head. They know where I hide." Elias drew his weapon, scanning the shadows. "Then we move. We cannot stay here." But Lyra shook her head. "No, if I keep running, they will never stop. They will burn the colony to ashes. They fear me too much. They will not let me live." Elias stepped closer, his voice firm. "Then we face them, together." Lyra looked at him in shock. "Together? You would fight your own colony's rules, your own people's fear for me?" Elias nodded. "Yes, because I believe in what I see, not what they say. And what I see is someone worth protecting." For a long moment, silence filled the hangar. Then Lyra whispered, "You are not like the others, Elias. Maybe you are as cursed as I am." He smiled faintly. "Then we are cursed together." That night, as the stars burned cold above, Elias stood guard outside the hangar, while Lyra sat inside, whispering old words to herself, fragments of forgotten languages, and as she whispered, the lamp flickered. Shapes appeared on the walls, glowing lines, maps of stars unknown to human eyes. Elias stared, his breath caught. Lyra's silver eyes opened wide. "The memory is waking," she said softly. "The secret does not sleep anymore." And in that moment, Elias realized this was no crippled outcast. This was a key, a secret, a storm, and he had stepped right into the center of it. The night air grew colder, the shadows deepened, and far away the hunters smiled, for they knew the time to strike was coming soon. The colony woke under a red sky. Alarms echoed across the steel streets. People rushed to shelters. Guards shouted orders. Ships scrambled into the air. Danger had arrived. Elias stood on the balcony of the barracks, staring at the horizon. 3 dark shapes descended from the clouds, their hulls sharp and black. Ships unlike any the colony had seen. The voice of the commander thundered over the speakers. "Unknown fleet approaching. Prepare for defense." Panic spread quickly. Traders abandoned their goods. Families ran holding children. Soldiers scrambled to form lines. But deep inside the storage hangar, Lyra already knew. She sat with her silver eyes glowing faintly, her thin fingers pressed against her temples. "They are here," she whispered. "I told you they would come." Elias rushed to her side. "You mean those ships?" She nodded slowly, her body trembling. "Not just ships, hunters, shadows of my people. They will burn everything to reach me." Elias tightened his grip on his weapon. "Then we make sure they don't take you." Lyra shook her head, fear in her voice. "No, you don't understand. They don't come to take, they come to destroy. Anyone near me is in danger." The ground shook as the first blast hit the outer wall of the colony. Dust and fire rose into the air. Screams filled the streets. Soldiers fired back with old cannons, sparks lighting the sky. Elias pulled Lyra to her feet. "We can't stay here. Come with me." They moved through the chaos, smoke burning their lungs, people pushing past them. No one cared for the crippled alien girl. Some even shouted, "It's her! She brings the curse! She brought the fire!" Elias shielded her from the crowd, his voice harsh. "Ignore them! Keep moving!" Lyra's silver eyes flickered with pain, but she kept walking, leaning on him, her broken leg dragging against the ground. When they reached the central square, Elias froze. The hunters had already landed, tall figures in black armor, their weapons humming with strange energy, their cloaks shifting like living shadows. The colony guards fired at them, but the bullets bent in the air, turning to dust before they touched the hunters. The soldiers fell one by one, screams echoing. Lyra clutched Elias's arm, whispering quickly, "I know their pattern, their weapons. I can guide you, but you must trust me." Elias nodded without hesitation. "Tell me." Her silver eyes glowed brighter. "Do not fire at their armor. Strike at the lines. On their chest, that is where the energy flows. Hit them when they raise their arms. That is when the shield weakens." Elias shouted the command to the guards nearby. "Aim for the chest lines. Wait until they raise their arms." Some listened, some ignored. But when the next volley fired, one hunter staggered, sparks bursting from its armor, the first sign of weakness. The guards gasped, hope flickering in their eyes. Lyra swayed, her body weak, the visions draining her strength. Elias held her steady. "Stay with me, Lyra. We need you." She closed her eyes, whispering, "I can see more. The ships, their engines, they are linked. One heart controls them all. Break the heart and the fleet will fall." Elias's jaw tightened. "Then tell me where the heart is." She opened her silver eyes, glowing like stars, and pointed toward the sky. "The middle ship, beneath the spine, that is the heart." Elias relayed the message to the command line, his voice steady. "Target the middle ship, under the spine, fire everything." At first, the commanders hesitated, but desperation pushed them. The cannons turned, missiles launched, the sky lit with fire, and for the first time the hunters faltered. The middle ship shook violently, flames bursting along its hull. The ground trembled as its shadow cracked, but the hunters on the ground screamed in unison, a sound that froze the blood of every human nearby. They turned their burning eyes on Lyra, as if they knew she was the one guiding the fight. Elias stepped in front of her, weapon raised. "You want her, you'll have to go through me." The nearest hunter lunged, but Elias fired at the glowing chest lines. The energy sparked, the creature fell to its knees, then collapsed with a metallic cry. The crowd gasped. No human had ever brought one down before. And it was because of the outcast girl. Lyra's body shook with exhaustion. "Sound." He leaned against Elias, whispering, "This is only the beginning. More will come, more than you can count." Elias looked at the burning sky, the colony in ruins, soldiers fighting desperately, and he knew she was right. But he also knew something else. With Lyra's knowledge and his courage, they had a chance. The hunters regrouped, their leader raising a black spear, energy swirling like storm clouds. Elias braced himself. Lyra clutched his arm, her silver eyes glowing brighter than ever. Elias, if we survive tonight, everything will change. Your people will never see you the same, and mine will never stop hunting me. He gave her a quick smile despite the chaos. Then let them come. We'll face them together. The battle raged around them, fire and smoke filling the air. But for the first time, Elias felt something strange. Not just fear, but strength. A bond forming in the middle of war. And in the heart of the storm stood a crippled alien girl and a stubborn human soldier. Side by side, ready to fight for more than survival, ready to fight for each other. The colony survived the first wave. Smoke rose from the broken walls. The ground still shook from distant blasts. Families crawled from shelters. Soldiers carried the wounded, and above it all hung a silence heavier than steel. Elias stood in the square with his weapon still smoking. Lyra leaned against him, her cloak torn, her silver eyes dim with exhaustion. People stared at them, not with gratitude, but with suspicion. Whispers spread through the crowd. It was her. She guided the fight. She is dangerous. Some spat on the ground, others pulled their children closer. No one stepped forward to thank her. Elias clenched his fists, anger burning. She saved you. She saved all of us, he shouted. But the people only muttered more. If she can bring victory, she can bring destruction too. She must be controlled. Lyra lowered her head, whispering, "Do you see now, Elias? No matter what I do, they will all aboom. Eyes fear me." Elias looked at her, then at the faces around them. He felt something rise inside, a decision forming, sharp and dangerous. That night, he led her away from the crowded square, through hidden passages beneath the barracks, until they reached an abandoned chamber where old machines slept under dust. Lyra sat down, her hands shaking. "You risk everything for me, Elias. Your honor, your place among your people. Why?" Elias knelt in front of her, his voice steady. "Because rules mean nothing when they kill the innocent. Because I will not let fear decide who deserves to live. Because you are more than what they see." Lyra's silver eyes filled with confusion. "But you cannot change their laws. The bond is forbidden. No human is allowed to link with an outcast." Elias gave a small smile. "Then let the rules break." Her breath caught, her hands trembling. "Do you even understand what you say, Elias? Bonding is not just sharing thoughts, it is life and death. If one falls, the other follows. If one breaks, the other shatters." Elias leaned closer, his eyes locked with hers. "Then I would rather shatter with you than live empty among cowards." Silence filled the chamber, heavy and trembling. Lyra's silver eyes glowed faintly, and for the first time, tears slid down her pale cheeks. "No one has ever chosen me," she whispered. "Not my family, not my people, not this colony. No one. And now you, a soldier with everything to lose. Why choose me?" Elias reached out, touching her broken hand gently. "Because you are not broken, Lyra. You are stronger than anyone I have ever met. And I choose you because you deserve to be chosen." The words cracked something inside her. She closed her eyes, and the glow in them spread into the air, thin silver threads of light swirling between them. Elias gasped as warmth filled his mind, memories not his own flashing before him. Fragments of Lyra's life, her childhood laughter before the pain, the day her leg was broken, the endless years of exile, the visions of machines older than stars. Lyra trembled as she felt his mind too, his lonely nights in the barracks, the burden of orders he did not believe in, the small kindnesses he gave to strangers, the quiet strength of his heart. The bond was forming, forbidden and unbreakable. Lyra cried out, "Stop, Elias, if they find out, they will kill you." But Elias only whispered, "Let them try." The silver light grew brighter, threads weaving into their hearts, their thoughts brushing, their fears mixing, their hopes entwining, until there was no longer just Elias and Lyra, but something new, something whole. When the glow faded, Elias felt her pain in his chest, the weight of her broken leg, the sharp sting of her scars, but also her strength, her fire, her visions. Lyra felt his courage, his steady will, his refusal to bow, and for the first time she did not feel alone. She opened her eyes wide, whispering, "It is done. The bond is real. They will never forgive this." Elias smiled faintly. "Then we fight, not for forgiveness, but for truth." Far above, the colony commanders gathered in the council chamber. Reports spread quickly. Some soldiers claimed they saw silver light between the human and the alien girl. The whispers grew. He bonded with her. He broke the law. This cannot stand. Plans began to form. Punishments whispered. Some wanted Elias stripped of rank. Some wanted Lyra handed over to the hunters to save themselves. But the hunters already knew. In the dark, they felt the surge of power. Their leader hissed through sharp teeth. The bond has formed. The human has chosen. Now both must die. Back in the abandoned chamber, Lyra gripped Elias's hand, her voice trembling. You don't understand, Elias. The bond makes us a beacon. They can track us anywhere. They will come faster now. Elias nodded calmly. Then let them come. We will be ready. She looked at him in awe, her silver eyes glowing brighter than ever. You are truly mad. He smiled. Maybe, but at least I am mad with you. And in that moment, under the cracked ceiling of an abandoned chamber, two outcasts became something greater than the laws of men or aliens. A bond beyond rules, a bond that would shake the galaxy. The days after the bond were tense. The colony looked quiet on the surface, but whispers ran through every corridor, every market, every barracks. People had seen the silver light. They had seen Elias standing too close to the crippled alien girl, and rumors spread like fire. He bonded with her. He broke the law. He is cursed now. Elias walked through the streets with Lyra at his side. Heads turned, voices hissed, children pointed, and soldiers who once stood with him now looked away, ashamed or afraid. Lyra felt the weight of their eyes. She whispered, "You should leave me, Elias, before they destroy you too." But Elias shook his head, firm and calm. "The bond is done, Lyra. Leaving you is like leaving myself, and I will not do that." Her silver eyes softened, but fear still lived in them. The council called Elias in for questioning. Elders with stern faces sat in a circle, their voices sharp. "You broke the sacred law. You endangered the colony. You bonded with a cursed alien." Elias stood tall, his voice steady. "She saved us. Without her knowledge, the hunters would have killed us all. Without her, the colony would already be ashes." But the elders sneered. "Knowledge from darkness is still darkness. The bond makes you dangerous. Both of you must be contained." Elias clenched his fists. "Contained means death." The eldest voice thundered. "Better your death than the death of all." When Elias returned to Lyra, his face was pale with anger. "They will not protect you, Lyra. They will sacrifice you." She nodded sadly. "I always knew. They fear me too much." That night, while Elias prepared supplies to escape with her, betrayal struck. A group of humans, his own comrades, came quietly into the hangar, their weapons drawn. "Elias, stand aside," their leader said. "Give us the alien, and we will speak for you. Maybe the council will spare you." Elias raised his weapon, fury in his chest. "Never." But Lyra stepped forward, her thin hand on his arm, her voice shaking. "Elias, don't fight them. Too much blood has already been spilled for me." The soldiers seized her, pulling her cloak, binding her arms. She did not resist, her silver eyes only fixed on Elias, whispering, "Live, even if I cannot." Elias struggled against three men holding him, rage burning, but they struck him down, leaving him bleeding on the floor as they dragged Lyra away. When he awoke, the hangar was empty, only silence remained. Pain shot through his body, but greater pain burned in his heart. The bond pulsed inside him. He could feel her fear, her despair, even from far away. Lyra was taken to the council chamber, thrown before the elders. The crowd gathered outside, hungry for judgment. The elders spoke coldly. "Alien girl, outcast, cursed, you are guilty of bringing hunters to our gates, guilty of binding a human soldier, guilty of spreading danger. Your punishment is death." The crowd cheered, not with joy, but with fear. Fear that killing her would keep them safe. Lyra lifted her head weakly, her voice steady though her body shook. "You call me cursed, but I saw your walls fall. I saw your people die. Without me, your end will come sooner than you think." The elders turned their faces away, unwilling to listen. As the executioner raised his blade, the chamber doors burst open. Elias stormed in, blood still on his face, fury in his eyes, weapon in hand. "Stop!" his voice roared, echoing across the chamber. "If she dies, you kill me too. The bond cannot be broken." The elders hesitated. Whispers ran through the crowd, some gasped, some cursed, but Elias stood like stone, unshaken. The executioner lowered the blade slightly, uncertain. Elias pointed his weapon at the council, his voice iron. You call her cursed, but she carries knowledge you cannot imagine. She has already saved you once, and you would throw her away like trash. You are cowards, every one of you. The elders' faces darkened. The crowd murmured louder. The order was about to be given, when suddenly Lyra cried out, collapsing on the ground, silver light spilling from her eyes. The bond flared. Elias fell to his knees, clutching his chest. He felt her pain as if it was his own, burning like fire. Lyra's voice trembled. No, Elias, do not die for me. Not like this. If one must fall, let it be me. Let it be my sacrifice. Elias shook his head fiercely. No, Lyra. If you die, I die, and I will not allow it. The silver light grew brighter, filling the chamber. The crowd covered their eyes. The elders shouted in panic. And for a moment, the bond showed everyone the truth. Visions filled the air. Hunters marching across ruined worlds, ships burning colonies, screams of entire planets, and in the center of it all, Lyra, holding the key to survival. The crowd gasped. Some fell to their knees. Some cried out in fear. When the light faded, Lyra lay weak on the floor, her voice a whisper. Now they know, Elias. Now they see why they fear me. Elias lifted her in his arms, facing the council. You can kill us, or you can fight with us. But know this, without her, without us, you will not survive what is coming. The chamber shook as another blast struck the TO. Lonely walls. The hunters were not finished, their attack growing stronger, their shadows stretching across the sky. And in that moment, even the cruelest elder realized their choice was no longer between law and mercy, it was between fear and survival. But the bond had already marked Elias and Lyra, and the hunters would never stop. The walls of the colony burned red under the endless storm of fire. Hunters poured through the broken gates, their black armor shining in the flames, their weapons screaming with energy. Panic filled the streets. Families cried. Soldiers fell. The sky roared with the thunder of enemy ships. The colony stood at the edge of ruin. In the council chamber, Elias held Lyra close, her body weak, her silver eyes still glowing faintly. The elders argued in fear. We cannot fight them. We must surrender her. Give the girl, and they may spare us. Elias turned on them, his voice like steel. You still do not understand. They do not come to spare. They come to destroy. If Lyra falls, we all fall. Lyra whispered, her voice fragile but clear. The hunters will not stop until the memory is erased, until the key inside me is broken. But together, we can end them. The elders stared, torn between fear and survival. Elias lifted his weapon. Stay here if you want. Hide behind your walls. But I will fight with her, with or without you. A few young soldiers stepped forward, ashamed of their council's cowardice. We will fight with you, Elias, one said, and more voices joined. With you. With her. Lyra's silver eyes widened. She saw for the first time humans choosing her, not out of fear, but out of hope. Elias carried her into the burning square, the hunters closing in, shadows stretching across the ground. Lyra's trembling hand touched his chest. The bond flared, silver light rushing between them, stronger than before. Elias gasped as visions filled his mind. He saw the heart of the fleet, the core engine that bound the hunters, a black crystal burn. Ing with power, hidden inside the lead ship, Lyra whispered. Destroy the crystal and they all will fall. But to touch it, the bond must open fully. It may kill us both. Elias gritted his teeth. Then let it kill us. But let it save them. The hunters marched closer, their leader raising a dark spear, its tip glowing with black fire. The crowd screamed. Soldiers fired useless rounds. The hunters only laughed. Elias stepped forward with Lyra at his side, silver light spilling from their bond, the air humming with strange energy. The hunters froze for a moment, sensing the power, then charged. Elias fired at the chest lines as Lyra guided him, each shot finding its mark. Hunters fell, sparks exploding, but more came, endless and relentless. The bond burned in his veins. He felt her pain, her broken leg, her scars, but also her strength, her visions, her fire. Lyra cried out, her silver eyes blazing. Now, Elias, now. From the bond came a map of light showing the path to the lead ship, its weak point glowing like a heartbeat. Elias shouted to the soldiers, cover us, and they did, firing with all they had, throwing grenades, blocking the hunters as Elias and Lyra pushed through. They reached the edge of the square, the ground shaking as the lead ship descended lower, its shadow covering them, its engines roaring like thunder. Lyra raised her hands, silver energy flowing, the bond opening wider. Elias felt his own strength pouring into her. Together they created a beam of light that cut through the smoke, pointing straight at the crystal. The hunters screamed in fury, sensing the threat. They swarmed forward, but Elias stood firm, firing, fighting, protecting her with every breath. Lyra trembled, her body weak but her voice strong. "Hold me, Elias. Together we end this." He wrapped his arms around her, the bond blazing like fire. Silver light exploded from them, reaching up into the ship, tearing through its armor, striking the crystal. The sky lit with a blinding flash, the crystal shattered. The hunters screamed in one voice, their bodies collapsing into dust, their weapons falling silent. The ship shook violently, one by one crashing into the mountains beyond the colony, fire lighting the horizon, the storm of destruction finally breaking. Silence fell, broken only by the crackle of flames. The hunters were gone. Elias knelt with Lyra in his arms, her silver eyes dim, her breath shallow. "Did we win?" she whispered. He smiled through tears. "Yes, Lyra, we won." The surviving soldiers and people gathered around, staring at the girl they once hated, once feared, now seeing her as the reason they still lived. Some knelt, some whispered, "She saved us. She is not cursed. She is the bond that protected us." Lyra opened her eyes faintly, looking at the crowd for the first time. She did not see rejection, she saw respect, hope, even love. She whispered to Elias, "I was nothing, an outcast, unwanted, but you chose me, and now they see, now they understand." Elias pressed his forehead to hers, his voice breaking. "You were never nothing, Lyra. You were always everything." The crowd raised their voices, cheering, not for the council, not for the walls, but for the girl who had been refused by all, and the human who stood with her. Above them, the smoke cleared, the stars shone once more. But far beyond those stars, other eyes were watching. Other powers had felt the bond. The galaxy would not stay silent. The battle was won, but the war was only beginning. And in the center of it stood Elias and Lyra, bound by choice, bound by courage, bound by love, stronger than rules.